And the latest food scandal to disturb Chinese consumers concerns cattle found living in and eating from a garbage landfill. Let's take a look.
The images of cattle living among the gently rolling hills of a garbage landfill turned many Chinese stomachs. More specifically, viewers worried that they might have eaten beef from one of the animals raised on this sort of garbage diet. One of the main health concerns associated with eating such meat might be due to mercury or other chemicals. These are present in many electronics and other throwaway items and might leach into the organic waste that the cattle feed upon. From there, chemicals can contaminate the whole animal and then affect its ultimate human consumer. And there are a host of other potential health dangers.
There
are some bacteria shared by livestock and humans. Cows, sheep, or pigs may eat these things and have no issues. But once they reach the human body, they cause illness. For instance, listeria infections can cause death in humans. If a mother is pregnant and is affected by this sort of bacteria, the infant fatality rate can be 100%.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, November 14th, 2011. I'm Darko. This is my website, GGNonline.com. That's GGNonline.com. Also, DDarko is my YouTube channel. That's DDarko. I have a group on Facebook. It's a Global Government News Facebook group. The link will be posted in YouTube's video description along with the Twitter, GGN Twitter account, and all the links and headlines will be posted in YouTube's video description. Right here is for email addresses and that, and I put up a new poll, and then I can get going here. The next CEO for the corporation known as the United States of America will be the first gay, Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian man, the first gay, Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian woman, and then we have the first transsexual, hermaphrodite, etc., the first cyborg, and the first alien from off-planet. So far, we have one person saying first gay, Caucasian, Hispanic, Asian woman, and the other saying the first alien from off-planet being the next CEO for the United States Incorporated. Okay, so we just saw that video about the beef and that, and actually that was a really slow buffering video. Usually slow buffering videos means that it's not really intended to get out to too many people. The sad part is that unfortunately, you know, someone just made me aware of this just the other day, that they add arsenic, companies in that add arsenic to the meat, among other things, such as allowing fungus and that to grow on the meat, and then they do that so that they can put the anti-fungus stuff that actually will hurt you even more onto it, among the growth hormones, among all the pesticides that go into the corn and all that, right? A lot of it's GMO, and they eat that, and then you get that along with all the pesticides and herbicides. So just a whole bunch of stuff along with the radiation of the meat that they do. I mean, just so much that goes into it before it even comes to you. And of course, we saw that video of those people that were holding like a farming, organic farming thing, event, and people were going to come and eat all sorts of organic meat and vegetables and stuff like that, things that are healthy for you. And what happened? Well, the health commissioners and all them, for the state and the government came and they made them throw it out. So there's people, and I don't want to sound like this, but it's the only thing that can come to my mind at first is what? Is that there literally are people out there with signs that are unemployed and been unemployed for 3 years now because what? The system's not working for them, and they're a useless eater, but they're out there panhandling, trying to find the next day's dinner and that, and then you have these people that are trying to promote something that is good and wholesome, and then they get raided, and then not only do they get raided, but they can't eat the food, and then their livestock can't even eat it, so they have to literally throw it out and into the garbage. So, but yeah, so let's keep moving here. We'll finish up with the economy where we left off, and then we'll move into some crazy stories, including some eugenics in this video. Obama's Asia Free Trade Agreement gains momentum as Japan and Canada sign on. So President Harrison Bunnell pushes to expand an Asian-Pacific trade accord and gain momentum at a summit in Honolulu. Remember, I covered on this about a federal agent from the State Department actually shooting somebody at McDonald's. So that's the type of security agents they have there. And they later said that the guy had a knife. I was like, okay, when did this knife just fall out of the sky? It's just, yeah, I mean, come on, man. Oh, he had a knife. And let's just not even think that it was planted there, so that, you know, it doesn't look like a State Department official shot at an unarmed innocent man. But yeah, it talks about Japan and Canada signing on, which is not a really big surprise with Canada, although I am surprised with Japan. I don't understand why they don't just do their own damn thing. But they're like every other corporation / country. They have sellouts that represent them, and not their actual people, their tribe. And if you do actually represent your tribe, well, then you'll be taken out like Gaddafi, right? They'll just come in there and then they'll get you, or maybe they'll just stage an assassination and then you can go off to wherever. But either way, now you're hearing all these stories about Viagra and just, you know, just typical BS stories about them. But that's what happens. That's what happens, and you get laughed at by other countries / corporations like the Arabs and the Muslims that laughed at him when he was trying to introduce a currency, a competing currency against the U.S. dollar. And they're laughing now, and they'll be laughing when they get their homes raided and they get their necks sliced, or whatever happens when the Obamas of the world come for them, right? Like that picture, the shaking Gaddafi's hand, and then, you know, here comes the bullet to the head. So, but yeah, and it goes in here, and it talks about NAFTA, and it says that it's the biggest U.S. pact since in 1994. Highly successful, right? And highly successful North American fair trade, I mean free trade agreement that exploits workers, right? It says here, UN chief presses world leaders to come up with $100 billion a year green climate fund. So Ban Ki-moon, leader of the global government, urged global leaders, global government, what would you call them, technocrats, Monday to finalize the financing for a multi-billion-dollar fund to fight the effects of climate change. So climate change is being done by man. It's being done by coward, just men. Like I said, they're cowards because they're up there in the sky. I don't even know. They may actually be unarmed planes that are spraying, but they're spraying around the entire planet, and they're trapping all the heat, and then they're blaming it on the slaves, and then they're asking the slaves to pay a slave tax to pay for their global government. Do you like that? And so they're actually not lying. And this is the thing. This is the thing with these bastards, is that they always have some kind of legal precedence where they tell you what they're doing to you, and they do it in such a way to where they could say, ah, I told you so. And if you're not paying attention, you don't read between the lines, then you're going to get duped. And so when they say man-made climate change, it is man-made. They're making it. Okay, the thing is he wants to build this climate fund. Now this is the funny thing, right? Our coincidental thing here. UN Security Council to consider climate change peacekeeping forces. So a special meeting to discuss green helmets force to intervene in conflicts caused by rising sea levels and shrinking resources. So a special meeting of the United Nations Security Council is due to consider whether to expand its mission to keep the peace in an era of climate change. You know, so basically what does this mean? So it means that, let's say they didn't do what they did, which is soft power, CIA coup. It's basically a coup. What happened in Libya and uprisings, color revolutions, all the world intelligence community provoked and provocateurs. It's not real grassroots or anything, just like what's going on with Occupy Wall Street. But let's say that the powers that be, these global Luciferians here, they want to go in there and take out a sovereign leader of a tribe. What can they do? What do they have in their arsenal? Oh, it's called weather weapons. They can go in there and they can spray them, and they can cause flooding, or they can cause droughts. So they can drop a UN aid, right? GMO rice aid that's going to sterilize them. They can do that, and then they can make them pay interest and give up all their resources to the World Bank. They can do that, or yeah. So they have all these different tools and weapons that they can use to get what they want. So they can spray you, and they can cause a flood, and then they can come in here with these green helmets and bash you over the head until you start paying their tax and taking on loans from the IMF and the World Bank. You like that? You see how it all comes together, right? And of course, I read another article that expired. It was from the Washington Times, where it was basically saying that, oh, this never happened, and there's no such thing as this, and it's right-wing conspiracies and stuff like that. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe it is a conspiracy, and you can keep saying that shit until you are getting clubbed over the head by a green helmet. Like I said, those are the people that don't open their fucking eyes, and they deny everything and call us kooks. Well, either way, 74-foot Christmas tree from Pennsylvania, hoisted in our buddy Rockefeller Center, a shrine to him for building, helping build a military-industrial complex and establishing the trilateral commissions. That's our big salute to him. And, of course, that's going to be probably what? Is it going to be taxpayer funded? I don't know how these Christmas trees are funded or anything like that. But maybe it is. But either way, we have this. The Harrison Brunel, or regime, I guess you can call it, approves Christmas tree tax. And then this guy goes in there again from Huffington Post and tries to fix the facts. Christmas tree tax is not a tax, not Obama's, but local farms trying to help themselves, which, in essence, it is right. And I don't want to blame it on Obama's tax if that's not what it is, but it's a tax, basically, against themselves. And why? Because they want to create, you remember, like, the meat, milk, or basically beef and milk. You know how they always had what's for dinner, beef, and got milk? Why do they have to do these things? Because people, look at this, says here, the incredible edible egg. With the rise of processed food, people had abandoned their milk and Coca-Cola eggs for Pop-Tarts. Now, is that why, guys? Is that why? No, it's because people realize that their milk and their beef are full of growth hormones and antibiotics and arsenic and all sorts of icky stuff and processed stuff, right? In their food, in their milk, and in their beef. So they abandon it. So what does the milk industry, the dairy industry, and the beef industry do? They ranch up the propaganda and tell you that it's what's for dinner, it's safe. Don't worry, don't read into what those conspiracy theorists, or those, not even conspiracy theorists, doctors, scientists, health advocates say. Oh yeah, here, and see, look at that, the right-wing blogosphere. So here, there you go. So that's going to allow the Christmas tree growers to create their own little cartel, like the beef and dairy industry. Social networking pioneer who took on Facebook commits suicide at age 22. So see, this is what happens when you offer some kind of competition to Facebook, i.e. DARPA, CIA, basically brought on, right? That's what it was brought on by them. And it was to build a complete database on every single human slave on this planet. And maybe this guy was going to offer something that actually provided security along with it. Because let's admit, let's just say it, a lot of people like Facebook. I use it to get my videos out, although I don't just go on there every hour and say, well, I'm taking a crap and I'm raking the leaves and I'm watching a movie. But so I use it for this to get information out. But that's what happens. You quote, commit suicide, right? It says here, Lothian and Borders raids follow-up Facebook tip-off. So see, this is what Facebook's all about. People lose their jobs for what they say on Facebook. Then cash, drugs, and illicit goods have been seized by police in a series of raids across the area. And it says they use Facebook to encourage members of the public. Snoops, we keep hearing about that more and more now all around the world, to tell them if they thought people were making money from crime, as if the government doesn't make money off crime. What a joke. District attorney that investigated Jerry Sandusky mysteriously disappeared, and so did his laptop. Brave doctor fired for exposing secret medical experimentation taking place at Northwestern University using humans as guinea pigs. Was Andy Rooney killed by surgery? I thought that was weird when it was just a routine thing, and then he died, and then he said, oh, he's so grumpy and crabby. Well, he's sick and tired of seeing everything the way it is. Sorry if you don't like it. Biotech groups bids to recruit high-profile GM ambassadors. That's right. Members include Monsanto, Bayer, and other GM companies to recruit ambassadors to lobby European leaders on genetically modified frankenfood. Serbian ecology leader arrested for openly defying GMOs and chemtrails. Genetically modified salmon approval pushed by USDA with $500,000 funding. funding. Feeding prisoners genetically modified soy products may be cruel and an unusual punishment along with slave labor that they're doing now. MP warns against giving anonymity to accused teachers who abuse children, kind of like what's going on with Penn State. Bailiffs broke in and sprayed chemicals in my dog's eyes over an unpaid gas bill. This is the freaky thing. I just had this happen to me last week. I didn't get tased or sprayed, but I had an actual political law enforcement officer, i.e. a pig, come to my door and try to offer a bounce check thing. I was like, what? But luckily it wasn't for me.